morning, everybody. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Yoga. I'm just going to give everybody a moment to join in. If you have a block that you can use, I just recommend having it in case you decide that you need it. And that way, if you want to use it to kind of support you, you can. If you've never done yoga with me before, I'm Kayla. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be doing a full body flow. It's going to be a little bit gentler than I would normally teach since it's our first one of the year. But my Thursday 10 a.m. when I'm teaching here live, that one will be gentler all the time. So the Tuesday will be a little bit more vigorous, and then the Thursday class will be gentler. So welcome. We're going to get started seated. So again, if you have a block, have it with you. You can put on some music if you like. My headphones were dead, so I'm not going to be listening to any music, but just something that's not too high energy, but not like ambient sounds, something a little bit fun. Just find yourself in a nice comfortable seat. If you have a block or a book or a pillow or a cushion or something that you like to sit on, you are welcome to do that. Just get yourself settled, kind of relax through the shoulders, closing your eyes, move around a little bit, just see how you're feeling. If it feels good, you're just gonna lengthen up through the spine. So you don't have to sit cross-legged, you can have your legs out in front of you if you prefer. We're gonna close our eyes, let the shoulders relax. Maybe just move your head around a little bit. Take a moment, see how you're feeling. Maybe you can feel that you're tense or tight in your hips or shoulders, maybe just in your face. Seeing how your breath feels, if you're sending long, deep inhales and exhales down to your belly, or if you're feeling like it's all just up in your chest. Just getting an idea of your starting off point. Maybe wiggling out some of the stress energy that you have in your body. You can inhale through the nose, exhale out through the mouth a couple of times. Trying to release that tension in your face. And then let's just try to slow the breath down. So if it feels good, sending some long inhales down to your belly, breathing in through the nose. Just try to breathe down to the belly and then to the middle of your ribs and then up into your collarbone. So a nice full deep inhale, as deep as you can get it. And then when you exhale, start to pull in through your core, letting all that air release out. And just see if you can start to bring the breath so it's even on your inhale and exhale. If breathing in and out through the nose isn't comfortable today, you don't have to do that. And we'll try to keep some long breaths as we move through our practice, but as you find yourself moving, you might find that those long inhales and exhales don't feel good with the movements that you're doing, so you can take shorter ones. But anytime you have the chance to kind of settle in or focus in on the breath, try to do that. Just taking a moment to notice where your thoughts might be wandering to. If you find that you're thinking about something really important, really deep, maybe asking yourself why that's coming up for you right now. If you're just thinking about like what you're going to do after this, maybe bring yourself to the present moment and let those thoughts be released with your exhale. Just checking in with your body, seeing if there's anywhere that feels a little bit extra tense or tight. If you have an injury, just reminding yourself to be kind to that part of your body and to modify as you need to. I'll provide some modifications. But if it's something that's kind of unique to you, just remembering, don't put too much pressure on yourself to perform the postures exactly like I'm doing them. Noticing if each time that you inhale, you can maybe make the breath a little bit longer. If you like to practice Ujjayi breath, it kind of is textured, you can feel it, you can hear it. It sounds a little bit like Darth Vader as you breathe in and out. You're welcome to practice that. We'll just take a few more breaths here in stillness, just seeing how your body starts to change, the way it feels as you're taking these long inhales and exhales. When it feels good, we're just going to take our hands to our heart center. We're going to set our intention for our practice today to be, I am where I need to be. I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm exactly where I am meant to be. And just kind of invoking that as you're moving through your practice. So just repeat it in your mind a few times. And then when it feels good, you can blink your eyes open. And we're just going to find our way down onto our backs. So rolling on down to your back, you can bring your knees into your chest when you get here. Just rock around a little, seeing how your low back is feeling, maybe through your hips. And then we're just going to take the left foot down. Right knee is going to stay into the chest, giving it a hug in. So as we're moving through our practice today, try to keep your focus on that intention. So we're not pressuring ourselves to push our bodies past where we need to be or where it wants to be today. You can extend that left leg long if it feels okay. Just remembering that this is just a nice way to move your body, a nice way to focus on breathing. Maybe have a little bit of fun. Rotating through the ankle if it feels good. So it's our first class back after the holidays. We just got sent into another lockdown. This isn't supposed to be high pressure. And it's a journey. So remembering just to allow yourself to take breaks. If you decide that you halfway through just want to take a child's pose or Shavasana through the rest of class, you are welcome to do that. We're going to take our hands onto the back of that right leg. Just extend the leg up towards the ceiling, seeing how it feels. So press out through your heel. Try to keep your hips on the ground so you're not pulling up your low back. You're relaxed here. Maybe point and flex the foot a couple of times. Just seeing how this feels. Your knee can be bent if you need it to. And then if it feels good, maybe you can slide your hands up a little further. Maybe you need to bend that left leg. Take some long breaths. Maybe you can pull your leg into you. And then bending in that right leg. If your left leg's not extended out, take it out. We're just going to draw the right leg across the body. See if you can reach your right arm back behind you. Send some long, deep inhales and exhales into your body, expanding through those ribs. Maybe as you exhale, you can pull your core in a little bit. So you want to imagine that you're trying to stop yourself from peeing midstream. So you're just going to really squeeze up through that pelvic floor, getting all those core muscles activated. And then gently coming back to center, right knee will come down, left knee into your chest. Holding it here, just seeing how it feels. Noticing any differences between that side and this side. Just like before, you can extend out long through that right leg if it feels good. Just checking in with any thoughts you have coming into your mind. So if you have any expectations for yourself and how you're going to perform through our practice today, just try to let it be released. If it feels good, hands onto the back of the thigh will lengthen up. You can bend that right leg, bringing the foot down to the ground if you need to. Point and flex your foot a couple of times. So if you are brand new to yoga, just remember these movements are going to be new to you. Don't expect yourself to be able to do everything perfectly the first time or the 100th time if you're not brand new to yoga. When you're ready for it, bending in the knee. Drawing the leg across the body, extending out through that left arm. Really tight through the core, again, pulling up through the pelvic floor if it feels okay. Every time that we're doing a posture that's just kind of focusing on one side, try to take a moment to compare how it feels, compared to the other side. One more long breath here. And then we'll come back through center. Both knees into the chest this time. Rock around again. See how it feels. And then hands onto the knees. We're just going to draw some big circles. And then in the opposite direction. And when you're ready for it, just rocking forward and back a couple of times. If you hate this, you can just sit yourself up. You don't have to rock forward and back. And then we'll come up to seated. So sitting cross-legged if it feels good. It might be more comfortable for you to have a block underneath your hips. But we're just going to lengthen up really long as you exhale. See if you can fold forward, chin down to your chest. Try to keep your hips down. So if you need to be up a little bit higher, you can. Try not to just round your head down towards your legs. You're trying to bring your chest forward. Kind of shifting side to side. And then walking your hands back. Take a long deep breath in. Reach the arms up. Change the cross in your legs if you have them crossed. And we'll just fold forward again. So moving around, see how this feels compared to the other side. So I want you to think of class today, since it's the first one that we're doing this year, just as kind of like a starting off point. At the end, if you want to, I'm going to post my, if you're watching me on Facebook, I'm going to post my Facebook page and my Instagram, so if you want to join in on just taking a couple of photos to get an idea of where you're starting off, and then you can send them to me or share them with me, and then we'll see in a few weeks how we're feeling. When you're ready, coming back up, and we're just going to roll ourselves over, find a range of child's pose, so toes together, hips back, lengthen the arms out long, just move side to side a little bit, kind of waving through the spine. If you've been practicing yoga for a while, or if you've been practicing with me for a while, just kind of reacquainting yourself with how your body feels today. If you practice with me a lot, you might be used to doing a lot more vigorous of a practice. So just kind of enjoy this more relaxed practice that we're doing today. When you're ready for it, we're gonna walk our hands back, sitting on the heels. If this is really uncomfortable, you don't have to sit this way, but we're gonna grab our hands and just kind of make some circles, warming up through our wrists, making sure to go one direction and the other. One direction, other direction. You might find that that is difficult. And then we're just going to continue to warm up our wrists a little bit. So bringing the hands down onto the ground, take them back a little bit so they're kind of close to your knees so that you can bring your shoulders over them. And we're just going to take some circles. So the closer that you have your hands back towards your knees, the less pressure you're going to have on your hands. Try to spread them really wide, press into your fingertips. And then we'll go in the opposite direction. And then we're just going to take our hands, face them back towards your knees. Maybe you can rock back slightly, giving a stretch through those forearms. Couple of long inhales and exhales. Turning your hands back around, take your left hand, back of the hand to the ground. Just rolling up and down a few times. Off of the back of the hand and back down. And then we'll switch over to the other side, same thing. And then releasing the hands, find your way to a tabletop, belly's pulled in. We'll start to move through cat and cow. So chest forward, tailbone up, really try to squeeze that upper back. As you exhale, pull the belly in, reach your back really high. So if it feels okay, bend the elbows a little as you come through that tabletop. And then straighten the arms for the cat pose, straighten the arms for the cow pose, getting the whole body involved. And then we're going to come back through center, pulling through your core, deep long inhale, left arm reaching. As you exhale, thread it underneath the right arm, bring your head and shoulders to the ground. Finding a little bit of a twist. And then press back through center, other side. So right arm lifting, open up. As you exhale, thread under, head and shoulder down. And then gently coming back through center, set your hips back, finding a child's pose. We're going to do a little kneeling vinyasa here. So when it feels good, spreading your fingers wide, we're just going to roll ourselves forward. Lift your back nice and high, press into your hands, pull your belly in, elbows pointing back, slowly lower down. Inhale to reach up through the chest. Just coming up as high as you can. So if you're coming up like this and you have your shoulders up to your ears, bend in the elbows, relax those shoulders down, lower back down, press into the hands. Come back and just move through that a few times. So as it feels good, coming forward, elbows in, lower down, roll back through the shoulders. You should be able to lift up through the chest and then press back. 2 more just like that. Warming up your hips and shoulders. And then last time here, elbows hugging. Inhale the chest up, and then find your way back into child's pose. When you're ready, we're going to tuck our toes, send your hips up and back, find downward facing. So keep your knees really bent here, pedal the legs a little bit, shift around. If you need to, you can do downward facing on the knees, just having your arms extended and your hips lifted. Move around a little. Shake out through your head, maybe bringing your mind back to that intention. I'm where I need to be. I'm where I'm supposed to be. Reminding yourself that your body is doing the best that it can and not to push it too far. When it feels good, we're going to come forward again like you're coming towards a plank. But come onto the knees and we'll do the same thing. So you're going to move through that vinyasa. If you really love doing chaturanga up on your toes, you are welcome to do that today. Otherwise, we're gonna stick with the knees. So finding your way back to downward facing and then rolling forward back onto the knees. A few times like this. Just warming up through the whole body. And we'll do one more here, rolling it forward onto the knees. Reach up through the chest and press yourself back into your child's pose. Rock around, maybe move your wrists. Slow your breath back down. And then when you're ready for it, coming back, find your downward facing. Keep your knees bent, pressing your hands into the floor. So finding yourself here, noticing if maybe you have yourself a little bit forward. So you're trying to get your legs straight and your shoulders are really far forward. We want to bend the knees, press those hips up and back. Chest is reaching back. This is one of those poses that you can take a picture of yourself and see maybe how it improves over the next few weeks. And then looking forward, walk your feet up to the top of the mat. We'll find a forward fold. Grab opposite elbows, rock around, shake your head out. If you have music on, maybe dancing around to it. And then we're going to roll up and down a couple of times. So pull in through your belly, roll yourself up, reaching really tall, and then we're just going to come straight back down. So nice and round, bending the knees a little as you come up. Exhale, back down, bending the knees a little as you come into your fold. So just doing this a few times. Maybe you need to bend your knees a lot. Try to bring so that your belly and your thighs are touching. We're going to take this one more time. All the way back up. And then this time as you come down, you're going to step back with your left foot, bring the knee down, find a nice kneeling lunge, reach the arms up. So press into your front leg a little bit so you're not as deep as you can possibly be here. And then we're going to do a little bit of a flow where I'm going to twist away from you. So you're going to sink down and twist, and then press into that front heel, back out. So just doing this a few times. Keep that glute on your back leg squeezing, pressing into your front heel. Moving at whatever pace feels good for you. The next time that you come to center, arms down to the ground, let's straighten our front leg out a little. Shifting forward and back. See if you can send your right hip down towards the ground rather than coming to the outside of that left hip. And just noticing how it feels. The next time you come forward into your lunge, you're going to take your left foot, pivot it back behind you, walk your hands over to the side so you're like a weird side kneeling lunge. And we're going to take it into like a kneeling warrior two. So fingers out to the sides. Keep your right toes pointing towards the top of your mat. And you're just going to sink in, press into the heel, and lift out. Imagine you're trying to draw the booty on that right leg forward. And then when you're ready, coming back up, we're going to bring that foot even closer in and see if you can sit down on your opposite heel. So you're like in a half malasana. Press your elbow in towards your knee. Left arm's going to come behind you, holding here. If this feels terrible on your ankle, on your left leg, you can come up and stay up here. and then we're just gonna release. Turn yourself to the left side of your mat. Step yourself back into downward facing. Pedal out a little bit. Notice if you can feel a difference between each side. So if you have the short edge of your mat facing whatever you're watching me on, you might notice now that you're facing away from me. So maybe just listen to the sound of my voice. If you need to, you can turn yourself around. We're gonna do the same thing we did, but on the other side. So walking your feet up to your hands, lift yourself halfway. Maybe you have furniture very close to your head as well. As you exhale, come down, bend the knees, roll it up, reaching, and we're gonna do the same thing. So a couple of times, rolling down and back up. Keep those knees bent. Last time, coming down, and then go ahead and step back with your right foot, bringing that knee down, kneeling lunge. Press into your front heel, come out of it a little bit, so you're not like in the deepest lunge you can possibly be in. We want to focus on squeezing everything in, getting that booty engaged, arms reaching. As we exhale, we'll sink in a little deeper and twist. So just coming in and out of it. Try to keep your hips pointing forward, you're twisting from that center of your ribs. Noticing if it's a little bit more challenging on the side. One more time in that twist. And then hands down to the ground. Ooh. We'll just shift forward and back a couple of times, finding that half split. Trying to send your left hip down towards the ground rather than coming to the outside of your right hip, okay? So your right hip's still pointing forward rather than twisting. Seeing if this hamstring feels a little bit different than the other one felt. Couple more times. And then the next time you have yourself in that lunge, you'll pivot that right foot behind you, come into the long edge of your mat again, into that sort of kneeling warrior two. So squeezing everything forward, lengthen out through the arms, and you'll just sink in a little bit deeper so you're getting an angle on your right leg, and then back out. See if you can relax through the shoulders, core is pulling in. Try to scoop your left bum cheek out underneath you. Maybe bringing that intention back into your mind, because maybe you can't move very far. Maybe you're just here. Maybe you have that front knee forward a little bit. We're just trying to get movement into our body. You don't have to be able to come into this super deep. We'll do a couple more. And then coming out, bringing left foot a little bit closer, sit down onto your right heel if it feels okay, and we're gonna press the left knee open with the elbow. Your right arm can come behind you, just gazing over to the right. Noticing if this side feels a little bit different in your hip. And then when you're ready for it, hands are going to come down to the right side of the mat. Adjusting yourself, come into downward facing dog, shift around a little. See if you can press into your hands, getting your booty a little bit higher. And then looking forward, walk your feet up to the top of the mat. We'll lift up halfway, long through the spine this time. Hands onto the shins. Roll your shoulders back like you're trying to reach your chest forward. Inner thighs are going to try to reach back. We're going to hold here. So breathing here, every time you exhale, maybe you can just take your legs a little tiny bit longer, reaching your chest a little tiny bit further forward, shoulders squeezing back. And then as you exhale, hold it down, rolling all the way up, reaching really tall. We're going to come into chair pose. So sitting the hips back and wide, finding your chair. You should be able to see most of your foot. Hands can come to your heart center. Squeeze through your glutes. See if you can sit a little lower. Your toes should be able to wiggle so you don't have your knees coming forward of your toes. Shake out through the head and shoulders. Try not to keep all that tension up in your face. And then you're going to put the weight into your right leg. Left leg's going to step back. We're just going to turn our toes to the long edge, not the long edge, turn that, toes to the corners, sink your hips down. Let's find goddess. So holding here, seeing how far you can get your knees open, trying not to be in a squat, leaning forward. You got everything kind of in a line, opened up. Squeezing in the glutes, noticing if one side feels different than the other. Long, deep inhales and exhales. And then we're going to do a little bit of a flow. So when it feels good, hands are going to come together, down at your pelvis. We're going to straighten our legs. Hands are going to come up to your chest. You're going to bend back in and round through your back. So bending, rounding, reach the hands forward. Straightening back out, reach up. Long breath as you exhale. Back down into that squat. We'll do 3 more rounds. So inhaling, exhale, press out, really round that back. Inhale, reach. Exhale, sink down. 2 more. Last time here. And then turning your toes to the long edge, hands onto the hips. I want you to bend your knees, slide your booty back as you start to straighten the legs, and just come as far forward as you can. So if you need to, hands can come onto a block, a book, maybe a chair. Keep your spine nice and long, press into the feet, squeeze up through those thighs. See if maybe it feels good to tilt forward a little bit further. Just breathing here. Reminding yourself of that intention. Trying to let go of any expectation that you have for your body. And then we're going to bring the hands onto the thighs, lift up halfway, bend the knees a little, roll yourself back up. Right toes are going to point towards the right side of the mat. Left toes are going to point either towards the long edge or maybe forward a little tiny bit. We're going to come to warrior 2, holding here. Try to keep this knee opening up a little, squeezing that booty underneath you, just like we did when we were on our knees. And this time we're going to move a little bit more. So inhaling up, exhaling, sinking in. Try to keep pressing into the heel on that front foot. Breathing. And then the next time that you come down, holding here, take your forearm to your thigh. Keep length down this side as you kind of find your extended side angle, squeezing the booty, reaching up. We're going to take this left hand, it's going to circle down. You're going to follow it with your right toes. Find your way back to a nice forward fold. Bending in the knees if you need to. Sway around a little. And then bending on the knees, lift yourself up. We'll come to the other side. What's going on here? Internet's not working great. Hopefully it picks it back up. So you're gonna take left toes towards the back of the mat, sink on in, arms reaching, holding here. And then just like before, you'll inhale to lengthen up and exhale to sink in. So if you can still see me, continuing that a couple of times while I try to fix this internet problem. Continue to breathe as you're moving here. And then the next time you have yourself in it, holding, try to squeeze that back glute underneath you. We'll lengthen down our side, finding your extended side angle. Pressing into the heel, try to open up through the chest, keeping long on both sides. Breathing long, deep inhales and exhales. And then we're going to take the top hand, bring it around, wide forward fold, holding here, rocking around a little. Keep moving. And then when you're ready, coming up, we're just gonna walk our hands over towards that right edge of the mat. Shift around, finding your downward facing dog, holding here. Long, deep inhales and exhales. And then coming down onto the knees, find yourself back into a child's pose, rock around a little bit. Take some long, deep breaths, maybe having some water if you need it. And then we're just going to tuck our toes under. Come on back towards your knees with your hands, and then see if you can find your way to a crouch. Moving all of your toes nice and wide. And then we're going to keep our toes on the ground and try to shift the knees forward. So if you've never done this before, you might find this feels awful. If it does, you can take a block or a book and bring your knees onto it instead, and then maybe you can sit up. Or you can just keep your hands on the ground, keeping a little bit of the weight out of the knees, or move around a little bit here. So we're just trying to stretch out the bottom of the feet, the ankles, the Achilles. If you're sitting on your heels, just try to enjoy the pain. And then we'll bring our hands down to the ground. Send your hips all the way up and back. Find a nice forward fold. Shake out through the head. Knees are bent. And then just roll yourself up. Find your way to the center of the mat. We're just going to take tree pose. So it's tight through your core. Putting all the weight into your right leg. You're going to take your left knee, toes still on the ground. Spiral that knee open as far as you can. Okay? You can hold right here. I want you to really try to get that knee open. You might find that it's only about here, that's fine. And then once you have it open, squeeze through the glutes, maybe you can slide your foot up to your calf. All good here. Maybe you can hold on to a wall if you need to. If you like, and you have it, your foot can come up a little bit higher, squeeze the glutes, find where this is a challenge for you. So relax through the shoulders, belly's pulled in, your leg and your foot are squeezing towards each other. It's really active here. Maybe you can reach up through the hands, nice and electric. If you have the ability, maybe you want to close your eyes or just move around. If you need to, find something on the floor that's not moving and stare at it, keeping your focus on it, your drishti. It's another one of those poses that maybe you want to take a photo of yourself wherever you are in it now. And then we'll see in a few weeks if it feels any different, if it looks any different. Little tiny subtle changes in our body as we practice yoga. Sometimes it helps to be able to look back at a photo. When you're ready for it, left foot's gonna come down, shake out through the right leg. And then our left foot, shift your weight into it, take your right toes onto the ground, spiral that knee open, squeeze in the booty. Finding if it feels a little different here, maybe you can bring it onto your calf. Just like on the other side, if it feels good, inside of the thigh. If you need a wall, grab a wall or a chair, cane, whatever helps you get into it. Try to squeeze your glutes, pull your belly in, press your legs towards each other, and maybe arms can come up, maybe gaze can lift. See if you can let your shoulders and jaw relax. Bringing that intention back into your mind. I'm where I need to be. I'm where my body is ready for me to be. Try to focus on the subtle differences between this side and the other side. Keep active through your whole body. And then we'll just release and find your way down to seated. So we're gonna do something that's gonna be a little bit challenging a couple of times. So we're gonna try to stand up and turn around and sit back down, okay? So you can do this with your hands. You're gonna spin all the way around. The opposite leg will come in front and sit, right? If your hips are like, no freaking way, just come wherever it feels good. Move through it. If you want a challenge for both hips and core, pull in through your belly, shift your weight a little bit, and maybe you can lift up without your hands and come all the way around. If you have a really sticky mat, you might want to do this not on your mat. We're just going to do a few times just to give ourselves something that's kind of hard to do. A few times, and then we can work on it and see as our flexibility and strength increase, maybe it'll become easier. So we're gonna go back to the other side one last time. And then all the way back down. When you get here, soles of the feet together. So if you have really tight hips, sitting again on a block or a cushion or a book will feel better. Just try to get long through your spine, move around a little. If it feels better, you can take your hands behind you. Try to lengthen, pressing your knees down. Press into your hands and shift forward a little. Just try to keep your spine long. Slowing back down through that breath. Gently coming up with the spine. We're going to bring our right leg out to the side, left foot onto the inside of the thigh. Get really long, and then you're going to bring your hands just in front of you and tilt forward a little. Try to keep your right toes pointing up. Just relaxing here. So I'll just remind you again, if you're practicing with me, if you plan on practicing with me every week, Tuesday class today I did a little bit gentle because it's going to be probably your first class of the year. But regularly this one is going to be a little bit more challenging, and the Thursday class is going to be a little bit more gentle. So, and then if you're joining me on Instagram on Thursday evenings, that one will be a little bit more challenging as well. When it feels good, get nice and long. We're going to walk our right hand over towards our right leg, press into it, turn your chest towards your left leg, and see if you can just lean over a little. So try to keep your left side relaxing, right side just slowly leaning down. I like to then make a little shelf with my arm. If you can't find that far down, that's okay. Left arm back behind you. Keep trying to open your chest over towards the left. And breathe. As it feels good, pressing into your right hand, grab hold of the underneath of your right leg, bringing it in, and we'll switch over to the other side. So just starting out forward, getting nice and long, and leaning into it. Try to keep these toes pointing straight up. If you find that your mind is wandering to what you're going to do next, maybe bring that intention back into your mind or focus on your breath. We'll bring our chest back up, left hand to the inside of the left thigh, kind of turn your chest to the right, and just see if you can relax over to the left. Right hand behind you, holding here. Keep trying to open your chest up. And then gently pressing yourself back up, left hand under that left knee, pull it in, turn yourself over to the laying down, and we'll just rock around a little. Just seeing how it feels. Maybe hands on the knees and drawing some big circles again. And then we're going to bring the feet flat down on the ground. Your fingertips are going to reach towards the ceiling. Triceps on the ground. Press into your heels. Keep your gaze up. So if you need to watch me first, watch first, because turning your neck isn't the best thing that you can do here. We're going to press into the heels. Start to lift just the pelvis up towards the ceiling. So your hips will start to kind of lift a little bit as you're squeezing your glutes. Pelvis is tilting up. And then see if you can lift up your hips. Your low back might come off the ground, just finding a nice bridge pose, squeezing the glutes, pulling in through your core, keep breathing. Maybe you can lift Those middle ribs up a little bit higher. And then slowly rolling back down, keeping your feet flat on the ground. Just rock on your pelvis a little bit. And then knees right above your hips, arms out to a T, dropping the knees over to the right, looking over that, oh, I dropped mine to the left, but you know, either side, we're gonna do both. Looking over that opposite shoulder. And when you're ready, coming through center, even out your hips, and let them drop over to the other side. Reaching long through the opposite arm, maybe looking over the shoulder, noticing if it feels a little different on this side compared to the other. Bringing that intention back into your mind. And then slowly back to center, knees towards the chest, pulling them out towards the underarms, seeing how this feels. If you like to, you can slide your hands onto your ankles, bringing them a little bit deeper. Maybe you want to grab the shins and take the feet up, or you can grab the toes. But notice how this feels here. So if you feel like you're lifting your hips up off the ground to try to get to happy baby, just bring the heels down a little bit more. If you're lifting your shoulders up to try to get towards your feet, relaxing here. This is another one that we'll do some kind of before, first time and progress photos. If you have any, because I know that some of you probably won't stay for Shavasana, so if you have any questions or comments, you can find me, Zyar Yoga, Ziaryoga on Facebook, Instagram, and Gmail if you want. If you have requests of anything that you want to do, and then if you want to participate in sending me some kind of progress shots, I would love that. I love engaging with all of you on social media. One more long breath here. And then we're going to take our knees together. Give yourself a tight squeeze. Long breath in. Maybe holding it in. And then as you exhale, releasing everything out. Find where you want to be for your Shavasana. So you don't have to lay flat on your back. I'm going to put my hands on my belly. I'm just going to take 10 rounds of breath here. Long and smooth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just trying to focus on my breath and on my intention. Just allowing my body to melt into the floor. Let your forehead release, your jaw release. Try to allow any judgments that you have coming into your mind just to be released. Just acknowledging your practice for what it was. you're ready to come out of your Shavasana, just starting to move your body a little tiny bit, toes, fingers, moving up through the limbs as it feels good for you. Maybe reaching the arms above your head, your legs long, deep full body stretch. And then let's just bend one knee at a time, roll off onto one side and pause there. Just seeing if you're feeling any differently now than you were at the start of our practice. Noticing any changes in the way your body feels, the way your breath is. Starting to press yourself up once you're ready for it. Finding a comfortable position, sitting on a block if you need to. Rolling the shoulders back. Take a couple of long inhales and exhales. And then bringing your hands together at your heart center. Take a moment to set, or not to set an intention, but to bring your intention back into your mind. Reminding yourself to bring it with you off of your mat into your day. And may the light within me reach out and touch the light within all of you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I will see you hopefully on Thursday. Again, let me know if you have any questions, comments, or anything, and I'll see you all then.